Down is taking place in PFI in 105 locations is what we're learning, and we have a list of leaders as well that we've accessed. And what more are we learning about the league? You were just telling us that this crackdown is the biggest ever because the top leadership has been detained, and we have the names of all those arrested. The chairman of PFI has been arrested, Emma Rahman, VC Anis Ahmed, General Secretary, N. Elaram, Secretary, Asfar Pasha, Secretary, Mohammad Shakib, Secretary. Anand, tell us how significant are these arrests that have been made currently?
Well, this is a crackdown on the entire top leadership. So this has to be very, very systematically done. I think the establishment, the government was very, very clear that if the crackdown on the PFI had to happen, it had to happen with the complete dossier and a huge amount of proof because it had to stand the test of legal scrutiny. Now, Anis Ahmed has been one of his chief voices who's been countering and calling this as a massive witch hunt. He's arrested. A lot of the founder members of the PFI are also 12 members of the banned outfit SIMI. So its operations has been under scrutiny for more than a decade now, since about 2007, 2008, ever since the PFI came into shape. After that, they have been under the lens and radar of various state police and state authorities. Their activities have been hugely questioned in Kerala itself, both by the Congress and the left. But in other states, because of this politics of appeasement, political parties have been soft with the PFI. The PFI has also eventually been able to embed its members in other political parties, and I think the entire the lid blew off on its actual design pan-India when the crackdown happened in Bihar. And the docket, which was claimed by the investigating agencies as being the brief material of the PFI itself, was found where they had a Mission 2047 document in place. And this was as alleged by the investigation authorities, and we had got a copy of that dossier. The details in that were quite incriminating. And for a small Bihar module to have it, it actually blew the lid off PFI's operations in Bihar, where they had embedded themselves in certain districts of Simachal and set up headquarters there. And the allegations are that they were linking themselves with Bangladeshi outfits and entities nefarious for their subversive activities, and they were also roping in Rohingyas and trying to give illegals cover fire and embed them on and localize them so that they could gather ground support. So all these activities are now under scrutiny. They are all subject to huge amount of legal scrutiny because the PFI is going to engage a battery of lawyers to fight these cases. But if the top leadership and bottom down, if we know that more than 13 states, more than 100 leaders arrested, multiple locations, huge amounts of raids, that means top down to the bottom. So it's a total uprooting of the entire PFI mechanism at any level of leadership or command or control. Now, if that has happened and all of them are going to be now put behind bars, it's a huge legal battle. Now, we'll have to see what the government strategy is to bunch them all together and fight it as one case, one entity, or pin them in each of them in a myriad of individual cases so that they are locked up for long, for good. The other thing is that the government has worked very hard to try and pin down its source of funding. And the PFI also has evolved and has been quite creative in the way it has tried to raise funds, not just internally but also globally. They have set up wings, we are given to understand, across multiple countries to raise these funds. Now, how they were coming into India, they were using multiple routes. Have those routes been choked? All of these are a huge matter of investigation and also understanding. But one thing is that this investigation and crackdown on the PFI has been going on for nearly 18 months now. So it's a slow build-up, a steady build-up to what we are seeing today. Multiple review meetings have taken place. We are given to understand that lots of dossiers were prepared, lots of accounts were scrutinized. Ashish Maharishi and Manoj Gupta have got us multiple inputs. Arunima has been getting us inputs, and these inputs have come from various states. The involvement of PFI leaders or those who are affiliated with the PFI, even in this entire Sartan Se Juda and targeting Hindu festivals, etc., has also come to the fore. So it's not just terror activities per se, but creating platforms of social unrest and trying and disharmony and pushing this divide between sections of community. These are all activities for which the PFI and its operations, its leaders will be under heavy scrutiny. To understand this, it would take a fish out of the bowl kind of a perspective and to see that how they have really evolved over the last decade to ensure that even if one of their activities or some of their leaders are caught, the others can continue to operate. But this crackdown that we are seeing pan-India is huge. And this is right from its top leadership to the bottom coordinate or person across various states. The PFI had evolved to establish its presence across 23 states and union territories in the country, with active presence in at least 13 to 15, where they were strong in number and they were developing cadre. There are allegations that they were also teaching them weapons training, making of IEDs, and also teaching them how to stab and kill and behead. So these are all allegations against the PFI. So it's a myriad of allegations, myriad of cases. We have to see what the overall dossier is, and the NIA's list is against these leaders who have now been arrested.
Anand, what is the political pushback we're expecting against these raids? Because the PFI does have some political parties who do sympathize with them. Do we expect this to set off a huge political debate, because it's the largest ever action that we've seen against these outfits?
A lot of the Muslim groups have been against the PFI because the PFI has tried to cannibalize them too. So initially the PFI tried to be a social organization, then its political wing, the SDPI, tried to subvert and supersede a lot of the local Muslim groups too. So organizations like the IUML in Kerala have been up at arms against them. The left has also seen them as an issue. The Congress has not been very friendly with them in Kerala, although the story has been different vis-a-vis allegations in Karnataka and in Rajasthan. So each of the parties have looked at the PFI as a political opportunity, but beyond a certain level, they have also tried to keep them at an arm's distance. So although there would be a larger political narrative that would be stitched, open, active backing of the PFI by political outfits is highly unlikely, because a lot of organizations now have wisened up to their plan and plot. So there were political organizations, individuals, entities who thought they could use the PFI and its activities to further their own political ambition and political agenda vis-a-vis their positioning against BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But in a larger sense, they all knew that they needed to keep this organization at an arm's distance. Many would have thought that they could use and throw technique, but a lot of them realized that the PFI, once you engage with them, are difficult to let go of, and they try to embed themselves into their own political parties and cannibalize them from within. So this is also something which political parties have realized. Now, if the charges are huge and immense, the assumption is a lot of political parties would make a lot of noise, but ideally keep themselves within safe distance from the PFI and not directly engage with them. What happens in the courts, though, is a different story, because there are many lawyers who would be engaged professionally, but they may have political leanings of their own. And whether that comes into play, we'll have to wait and watch.
Thank you very much for joining us for those details, Anand. Request you to stay with us, and request all my colleagues to stay with us while we slip into a very short commercial break.